Ladies and gentlemen live in a world that often misrepresents the meaning of kindness. We are taught that being soft, constantly bending and pleasing is the way to be liked, loved, and accepted. But today I want to challenge that idea. You see, being soft all the time doesn't just cost you peace, it costs you purpose. Have you ever wondered why people take advantage of you? Why your dreams seem so far away? Why your relationships lack depth? It's because you've been too soft for too long. Today I want to take you on a journey to discover why it's crucial to stop being soft with everyone and how doing so will unlock the true power and purpose within you. I guarantee by the end of this speech, you'll see why your softness is not only hurting you, but also harming the people you care about. The reason you need to watch till the end is simple. This message is not just about becoming tough. It's about embracing your strength, standing firm, and fulfilling the destiny you were created for. Let's dive in. Setting boundaries is an essential practice that reflects self-respect, but for many, it's a challenge because they fear rejection, conflict, or being perceived as selfish. However, boundaries are far from selfish. They are the cornerstone of healthy relationships, personal well-being, and overall happiness. When we consistently allow others to cross our boundaries, we are essentially saying, your needs matter more than mine. Over time, this creates a deep sense of resentment, frustration, and even burnout. It diminishes our self-worth and leaves us feeling unappreciated. To prevent this downward spiral, we must understand that self-respect is intricately linked to the boundaries we set. The idea of setting boundaries stems from a fundamental truth we teach people how to treat us. If we consistently allow others to disregard our limits, we send a message that we don't value ourselves. Boundaries are not meant to be walls that shut people out, but rather guidelines that protect our emotional, mental, and even physical well-being. They provide clarity in our interactions with others by helping us communicate our limits and expectations clearly. This ensures that relationships remain respectful and mutually beneficial. One common misconception is that setting boundaries means being confrontational or rude. In reality, it's the opposite. It is about creating clarity and structure, which ultimately leads to healthier relationships. When we set boundaries, we are not only protecting ourselves, but also giving others the opportunity to adjust their behavior and approach. Boundaries help people understand where the line is. A line is allowing them to navigate the relationship with more awareness and respect. Without clear boundaries, misunderstandings abound, and people often overstep, not because they want to hurt us, but because they simply don't know where we stand. A key aspect of self-respect through boundary setting is understanding that it is not about controlling others, but about taking responsibility for how we allow ourselves to be treated. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming others for our discomfort, but the truth is, it's our responsibility to communicate what is acceptable and what isn't. Failing to set boundaries often leads to victimhood, where we feel mistreated or walked over, yet remain silent out of fear of confrontation. However, when we set and enforce boundaries, we regain control of our lives, taking ownership of how we are treated. Another crucial point to consider is that people often fear setting boundaries because they associate them with the possibility of losing relationships. There's a lingering worry that if we say no or express our needs, we might be seen as difficult, uncooperative, or even unloving. But this is far from the truth. Real, meaningful relationships are built on mutual respect. If someone is unwilling to respect your boundaries, then it's worth questioning the depth and authenticity of that relationship. True friends, partners, and colleagues will respect you more for being clear about your limits, and in most cases, they will adjust their behavior to ensure the relationship thrives. The absence of boundaries not only affects our personal relationships, but also our professional lives. In the workplace, when we fail to set boundaries, we may find ourselves overworked, stressed and overwhelmed. Saying yes to every task and agreeing to every request might seem like the route to success, but in reality, it leads to exhaustion and burnout. Boundaries in the professional world are just as important as in our personal lives. They help maintain work-life balance, protect our mental health, and enable us to perform at our best without feeling depleted. Setting clear expectations about work hours, responsibilities, and limits allows us to function more effectively and maintain our well-being. When we respect ourselves enough to set boundaries, we build self-esteem. The act of saying no when necessary and standing firm in our values reinforces our sense of worth. It reminds us that we have the right to our space, time, and emotional energy. We are not obligated to make everyone else comfortable at our own expense. Each time we enforce a boundary, we are affirming our value. This doesn't mean we become rigid or inflexible, quite the contrary. Boundaries give us the freedom to be generous and kind without feeling exploited or resentful, because we know where to draw the line. Boundaries also play a crucial role in emotional health. Without them, we open ourselves up to emotional manipulation, guilt-tripping, and toxic dynamics. Emotional boundaries are about knowing when to distance ourselves from negativity or harmful influences. They empower us to protect our mental and emotional states by deciding what we will and will not tolerate. For example, if a relationship consistently drains our energy or brings us down, setting an emotional boundary could mean reducing time spent with that person or establishing a limit on how much we engage in emotionally charged conversations. In this way, boundaries help preserve our emotional equilibrium, allowing us to maintain healthy, positive energy in our lives. Another aspect of self-respect is learning to enforce boundaries without feeling guilty. Many people, especially those who are naturally nurturing or empathetic, struggle with guilt when they establish limits. They worry about disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. However, guilt is often a byproduct of a deeply ingrained belief that putting oneself first is wrong. The truth is, taking care of yourself is not only necessary but essential. When we take care of our own needs, we are better equipped to care for others in a more balanced and healthy way. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that we value ourselves enough to protect our energy, time, and well-being. Boundaries create space for personal growth, authentic connections, and a balanced life. They teach others how to treat us with respect, while simultaneously giving us the freedom to navigate life with confidence and self-assurance. When we master the art of boundary setting, we not only elevate our own lives, but also set a powerful example for others to do the same. People-pleasing is a behavior that many of us have adopted, often unconsciously, as a way to maintain harmony in our relationships, avoid conflict, and seek validation from others. At first glance, it seems like a noble pursuit. After all, who doesn't want to be liked, appreciated, and accepted? However, the truth is that people-pleasing can be detrimental to our well-being, personal growth, and even the quality of our relationships. When we constantly strive to make others happy at the expense of our own needs and desires, we begin to lose ourselves in the process. One of the most significant dangers of people-pleasing is the erosion of our authenticity. In our attempt to be agreeable and avoid confrontation, we often suppress our true thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Over time, this leads to a disconnect between who we are and how we present ourselves to the world. We become so focused on fulfilling the expectations of others that we lose touch with our own values and desires. This lack of authenticity not only affects our sense of self, but also impacts our relationships. When we are not true to ourselves, we cannot build meaningful, genuine connections with others. People pleasers frequently find themselves in situations where they say yes when they really mean no. This habit can lead to overcommitment, stress, and burnout. The fear of disappointing others often drives us to take on more than we can handle, whether it's at work, in our social circles, or within our families. While it may seem like we are being helpful and accommodating, the reality is that we are stretching ourselves too thin. This constant giving without replenishing can lead to physical exhaustion, emotional fatigue, and a deep sense of resentment. Instead of feeling fulfilled by our efforts, we feel drained and unappreciated. Another major danger of people-pleasing is the loss of self-respect. When we consistently prioritize the needs and wants of others over our own, we send a message to ourselves and to those around us that we don't value our own feelings, time, or energy. This lack of self-respect can have a profound impact on our self-esteem. Over time, we may start to believe that our worth is tied to how much we can do for others, rather than who we are as individuals. This can create a cycle of dependence on external validation, where we constantly seek approval from others to feel good about ourselves. The fear of rejection is a common motivator behind people-pleasing behavior. Many of us are afraid that if we don't say yes, or if we express our true thoughts, we will be judged, criticized, or even abandoned. This fear can be paralyzing, leading us to avoid difficult conversations or stand up for ourselves. However, This avoidance only reinforces the pattern of people-pleasing as we continue to prioritize others' comfort over our own. The truth is, fear of rejection stems from an internal belief that we are not worthy of love or acceptance as we are. By constantly seeking approval from others, we are essentially giving them the power to define our worth. People-pleasing can also lead to dysfunctional relationships. When we constantly bend over backward to accommodate others, we create an imbalance in the relationship dynamic. People may begin to take advantage of our kindness, assuming that we will always be available to meet their needs, regardless of the toll it takes on us. This creates a one-sided relationship where we are the giver and the other person is the taker. Over time, this dynamic breeds resentment as we start to feel used and unappreciated. Worse still, we may begin to attract people who are drawn to our accommodating nature, further perpetuating the cycle of unhealthy relationships. People-pleasing can also stunt personal growth. When we are too focused on making others happy, we often neglect our own goals, dreams, and ambitions. We become so consumed with meeting the expectations of others that we forget to pursue what truly matters to us. Whether it's taking on additional responsibilities at work, saying yes to social obligations we don't enjoy, or staying in relationships that no longer serve us, people-pleasing forces us to put our own desires on the back burner. This stagnation can lead to feelings of unfulfillment and regret as we realize that we have sacrificed our own happiness in the pursuit of external approval. Another danger of people-pleasing is the impact it can have on decision-making. When we are overly concerned with pleasing others, we may struggle to make decisions that align with our own values and interests. Instead of making choices that are best for us, we defer to what others want or expect. This indecisiveness can lead to a lack of direction and clarity in our lives as we constantly second-guess ourselves and look to others for guidance. In the long run, this erodes our confidence in our ability to make sound decisions, leaving us feeling powerless and dependent on others for validation. People-pleasing can also lead to a cycle of self-sacrifice, where we consistently put others' needs above our own. While it's important to be considerate and compassionate, there is a fine line between being caring and losing ourselves in the process. When we sacrifice our own well-being to make others happy, we are not practicing true kindness. True kindness is rooted in balanced caring for others, while also caring for ourselves. People-pleasing, on the other hand, is often driven by a desire to avoid conflict or gain approval, rather than genuine compassion. People-pleasing can prevent us from developing healthy boundaries. When we are too focused on keeping others happy, we may struggle to assert ourselves or say no when necessary. This lack of boundaries leaves us vulnerable to being taken advantage of or manipulated by others. Without clear boundaries, we are unable to protect our time, energy, and emotional well-being. In the absence of boundaries, we may find ourselves constantly giving while receiving little in return. Over time, this dynamic becomes unsustainable, leading to burnout, resentment, and dissatisfaction in our relationships. The dangers of people-pleasing are far-reaching and can impact every aspect of our lives. From eroding our authenticity and self-respect to creating imbalanced relationships and stunting personal growth. The consequences of people-pleasing are significant. While the desire to be liked and accepted is natural, it's essential to recognize when this desire is leading us to compromise our own well-being. By learning to set boundaries, prioritize our own needs, and cultivate self-worth, we can break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and live more authentic, fulfilling lives. Conflict is an inevitable part of life, yet many of us go to great lengths to avoid it. Whether it's a disagreement at work, a misunderstanding with a friend, or a difficult conversation with a family member, we often shy away from conflict because it feels uncomfortable, unpredictable, and emotionally charged. However, avoiding conflict doesn't make it disappear. In fact, it can make problems fester and grow into bigger issues. The key to handling conflict is not to avoid it, but to embrace it as an opportunity for growth, learning, and strengthening relationships. Healthy conflict can be a powerful tool for personal and relational growth. It helps us to communicate our needs, express our feelings, and resolve underlying issues that, if ignored, could damage relationships. When we avoid conflict, we often suppress our emotions, leading to resentment, frustration, and emotional distance. Over time, this erodes trust and intimacy in relationships as unspoken grievances pile up. By embracing conflict, we open the door to deeper understanding and connection with others. It allows us to address problems head-on and work towards solutions that benefit both parties. One of the most important aspects of embracing healthy conflict is understanding that not all conflict is destructive. There is a difference between destructive conflict, which involves personal attacks, aggression, or manipulation, and constructive conflict, which focuses on resolving issues in a respectful and productive manner. Constructive conflict is about addressing the issue, not attacking the person. It requires us to engage with empathy, listen actively, and remain open to different perspectives. When approached with the right mindset, conflict can lead to creative solutions, mutual respect, and stronger bonds. In many cases, our fear of conflict stems from a belief that it will lead to rejection or abandonment. We may worry that expressing our dissatisfaction or disagreement will make others angry, or that it will damage the relationship beyond repair. This fear often leads us to stay silent when something is bothering us, or to downplay our feelings in an attempt to keep the peace. However, suppressing our emotions and avoiding difficult conversations does more harm than good. In reality, most relationships are strong enough to withstand conflict, and addressing issues directly often strengthens them. Conflict also provides an opportunity for self-awareness and personal growth. When we are willing to engage in healthy conflict, we are forced to examine our own beliefs, values, and emotional triggers. Conflict can reveal patterns of behavior that may not serve us well, such as being overly defensive, controlling, or passive. By recognizing these patterns, we can work on developing more effective communication skills and emotional intelligence. For instance, instead of reacting impulsively or shutting down, we can learn to approach conflict with calmness, clarity, and compassion. This not only improves our ability to navigate difficult situations, but also helps us grow as individuals. Embracing conflict can help us build resilience. Life is full of challenges and disagreements, and the more we practice handling conflict in a healthy way, the more resilient we become. We learn to manage stress, regulate our emotions, and stay grounded in the face of adversity. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them head-on with confidence and grace. When we embrace conflict, we become more adept at problem solving and finding solutions that work for everyone involved. This builds our capacity to handle future conflicts with greater ease and effectiveness. In professional settings, healthy conflict is essential for innovation and progress. When people are too afraid to speak up, share their ideas, or challenge the status quo, organizations become stagnant. A culture that encourages healthy conflict fosters creativity, critical thinking, and diverse perspectives. It allows for constructive debate and collaboration, leading to better decision-making and problem-solving. On the other hand, a workplace that avoids conflict may suffer from groupthink, where employees are afraid to voice dissenting opinions, leading to missed opportunities and a lack of innovation. Healthy conflict also plays a crucial role in leadership. Effective leaders understand that conflict is a natural part of any team dynamic, and that avoiding it can lead to dysfunction. Instead of trying to suppress or ignore conflict, strong leaders create an environment where team members feel safe to express their concerns, challenge ideas, and work through disagreements. By fostering open communication and addressing conflict head-on, leaders can build trust, improve team cohesion, and ensure that issues are resolved before they escalate. This approach not only strengthens the team, but also enhances overall performance and productivity. In personal relationships, healthy conflict is a sign of a mature, balanced connection. Avoiding conflict may seem like the path to harmony, but it often leads to passive-aggressive behavior, unspoken resentment, and emotional distance. Couples, friends, or family members who avoid conflict may end up sweeping problems under the rug, which only allows them to grow into larger issues over time. In contrast, those who embrace conflict as a natural part of the relationship are more likely to communicate openly, resolve issues effectively, and maintain a deep level of trust and intimacy. One of the keys to embracing healthy conflict is learning how to communicate effectively during disagreements. This means avoiding blame, accusations, or criticism, and instead focusing on expressing your feelings and needs in a calm and respectful manner. Using I statements such as "I feel hurt when," or "I need more support," with can help keep the conversation focused on the issue rather than turning it into a personal attack. Additionally, active listening is crucial. This means not only hearing the other person's words, but also trying to understand their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. By listening empathetically and validating their feelings, you create a space for mutual understanding and resolution. Healthy conflict also involves compromise and collaboration. It's not about winning or proving who's right, but about finding a solution that works for both parties. This requires flexibility, patience, and a willingness to meet the other person halfway. While it's important to stand firm in your values and needs, it's equally important to remain open to negotiation and adjustment. When both parties approach conflict with a mindset of collaboration, they are more likely to reach a resolution that strengthens the relationship rather than weakens it. Embracing healthy conflict is a vital skill that enhances both personal and professional relationships. It requires us to shift our mindset from seeing conflict as something to fear to viewing it as an opportunity for growth, understanding, and deeper connection. By learning to engage in conflict with empathy, respect, and openness, we can transform disagreements into meaningful conversations that lead to positive outcomes for everyone involved. Setting boundaries is an essential skill that many people struggle with because it can feel uncomfortable, especially for those who tend to prioritize the needs and feelings of others. Yet boundaries are not only about protecting ourselves from being overrun by the demands of others, they are a powerful expression of self-respect, personal strength, and clarity of purpose. Establishing clear boundaries allows us to define our limits, maintain our mental and emotional well-being, and communicate effectively in our relationships, both personal and professional. Boundaries are often misunderstood as a way to push people away or create distance in relationships, but this perception is flawed. Healthy boundaries actually foster stronger and more authentic connections because they are rooted in mutual respect. When we set boundaries, we are telling others how we expect to be treated, what we are comfortable with, and where our limits lie. This clarity reduces misunderstandings and resentment, making it easier for us to build trust and deepen relationships. By being clear about our boundaries, we also encourage others to be open about theirs, creating a more honest and respectful dynamic. A common challenge many people face when setting boundaries is the fear of being perceived as selfish or unkind. We worry that by saying no or asserting our needs, we will disappoint others or damage our relationships. However, this fear often leads to people-pleasing behavior, where we stretch ourselves too thin, take on more than we can handle, and neglect our own needs. Over time, this can lead to burnout, frustration, and even resentment toward the very people we were trying to please. The truth is, setting boundaries is not selfish, it's a necessary act of self-care. It allows us to preserve our energy, focus on what matters most, and show up fully in our relationships without feeling drained or overwhelmed. One of the reasons why boundaries are so crucial is that they help protect our emotional well-being. When we don't set boundaries, we often allow others to overstep, whether it's by asking for too much of our time, violating our personal space, or making demands that we are uncomfortable fulfilling. Without boundaries, we become vulnerable to manipulation, emotional exhaustion, and even abuse. By setting and maintaining firm boundaries, we create a buffer that shields us from unnecessary stress and negativity. This doesn't mean we shut people out, but rather we become intentional about what we are willing to accept in our lives and relationships. Setting boundaries also plays a critical role in managing time and energy. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with requests, distractions, and demands on our time. Without clear boundaries, it's easy to feel pulled in 1,000 different directions, leaving little room for self-care, personal development, or meaningful work. Boundaries help us prioritize what is truly important and allocate our time and energy accordingly. For example, saying no to attending an unnecessary meeting or declining a social invitation that doesn't align with our goals can free up valuable time for activities that nurture our well-being or help us achieve our aspirations. By setting these limits, we not only protect our time, but also reinforce our commitment to our own growth and well-being. In professional environments, setting boundaries is particularly important for maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Many people struggle with the pressure to be constantly available, whether it's answering emails after hours or taking on extra projects to impress superiors. While dedication to one's job is admirable, without boundaries, this can lead to overwork and chronic stress. Setting clear boundaries at work, such as defining specific hours for communication or limiting the number of projects one can take on at a time, helps to prevent burnout and ensures that we have the energy to perform at our best. It also signals to colleagues and supervisors that we value our time and well-being, which can lead to greater respect and more sustainable working relationships. Boundaries are also essential in managing toxic relationships or unhealthy patterns in our personal lives. We've all encountered people who take advantage of our kindness or who bring negativity into our lives, whether intentionally or not. Without boundaries, these individuals can drain our energy, erode our self-esteem, and make us feel powerless. Setting firm boundaries with toxic individuals is a way of reclaiming our power and protecting our peace. This might involve limiting contact, refusing to engage in certain behaviors, or even cutting ties when necessary. While this can be difficult, especially with close family members or longtime friends, it is a necessary step in preserving our emotional health and well-being. One of the key aspects of setting boundaries is being consistent. Once we establish a boundary, we need to be firm in upholding it. If we set a boundary but fail to enforce it, others will quickly learn that they can ignore it, which defeats the purpose. Consistency sends a clear message that we are serious about our limits and expect others to respect them. This doesn't mean we need to be rigid or inflexible, but it does mean that we need to honor our own needs and not compromise on them for the sake of avoiding conflict or pleasing others. Maintaining boundaries requires practice and sometimes involves uncomfortable conversations, but the more we do it, the easier it becomes. Communication is another crucial component of boundary setting. It's not enough to set boundaries in our own minds, we must also communicate them clearly to others. This can be challenging, especially if we are used to avoiding conflict or prioritizing the needs of others over our own. However, learning to express our boundaries assertively and respectfully is key to ensuring they are understood and honored. For example, if a friend frequently calls late at night and disrupts your sleep, you might say, "I value our conversations, but I need to be asleep by 10 p.m. so I won't be able to take calls after that time." This kind of clear, respectful communication helps establish boundaries without causing unnecessary tension or conflict. One of the most empowering aspects of setting boundaries is that it reinforces our sense of self-worth. When we set and maintain boundaries, we are essentially telling ourselves and others that we deserve respect, care, and consideration. It's a way of standing up for ourselves and ensuring that our needs are taken into account. Over time, this builds confidence and self-respect, which in turn makes it easier to continue setting boundaries in other areas of our lives. It's a powerful affirmation of our right to prioritize our well-being and happiness. Setting boundaries is not about keeping people out, but about creating healthy, respectful relationships with ourselves and others. It is a practice of strength, self-respect, and clarity that protects our emotional well-being, helps us manage our time and energy, and ensures that our relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. Though it can be challenging at first, especially for those who are used to people-pleasing or avoiding conflict, the rewards of setting boundaries far outweigh the discomfort. When we set clear, firm boundaries, we create a life that aligns with our values, needs, and cultivating resilience is an essential aspect of personal development and growth. Resilience is not merely about enduring hardships, it's about bouncing back from them, learning from the experience, and emerging stronger than before. Life is filled with challenges, obstacles, and disappointments. However, those who cultivate resilience develop the ability to navigate these difficulties with grace and tenacity, turning potential setbacks into opportunities for growth. This process begins with a shift in mindset, recognizing that challenges are an inherent part of life rather than insurmountable barriers. To cultivate resilience, one must first embrace the reality that challenges will arise. It's not a matter of if, but when. This understanding allows individuals to prepare mentally and emotionally for the inevitable struggles they will face. Instead of viewing challenges as negative experiences to be avoided at all costs, resilient individuals recognize them as opportunities for learning and growth. This perspective shift is crucial, as it empowers individuals to approach difficulties with curiosity and openness rather than fear and resistance. By accepting that challenges are a normal part of life, we create a mental framework that enables us to respond constructively when they arise. One of the key elements of resilience is the development of a growth mindset. Coined by psychologist Carol Dweck, The term growth mindset refers to the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, dedication, and perseverance. When individuals adopt a growth mindset, they view failures and setbacks as opportunities for improvement rather than reflections of their worth or capabilities. This approach encourages them to take risks, try new things, and push their boundaries. For example, a student who receives a poor grade on an exam might initially feel discouraged. However, if they adopt a growth mindset, they will see this as a chance to study more effectively and understand the material better rather than as an indication of their intelligence. This resilience allows them to bounce back and achieve greater success in the future. Another essential component of cultivating resilience is the ability to regulate one's emotions effectively. When faced with adversity, it is natural to experience feelings of fear, anxiety, or frustration. However, resilient individuals have developed emotional regulation skills that enable them to manage these feelings in healthy ways. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by negative emotions, they learn to acknowledge and express them constructively. This might involve practicing mindfulness, engaging in physical activity, or seeking support from others. By developing these skills, resilient individuals are better equipped to handle stress and navigate the emotional turmoil that often accompanies challenging situations. Building a strong support network is also critical to fostering resilience. Relationships play a vital role in our ability to cope with difficulties, and having a solid support system can make a significant difference in how we respond to challenges. Resilient individuals often surround themselves with positive, supportive people who encourage them to persevere in the face of adversity. These relationships provide emotional support, practical assistance, and a sense of belonging. Moreover, sharing experiences with others can help individuals gain perspective on their challenges and realize that they are not alone in their struggles. This sense of community fosters resilience and empowers individuals to confront difficulties head-on. Another vital aspect of cultivating resilience is maintaining a sense of purpose and direction in life. Individuals who have a clear understanding of their values, goals, and aspirations are more likely to navigate challenges effectively. A strong sense of purpose provides motivation during difficult times, helping individuals stay focused on what truly matters. When faced with setbacks, those with a clear purpose are more inclined to view these challenges as temporary obstacles on their journey rather than insurmountable barriers. For instance, an entrepreneur who encounters a business setback may feel discouraged. However, if they have a strong sense of purpose, such as a passion for their product and a commitment to serving their customers, they are more likely to persist, learn from the experience, and ultimately find a way to succeed. Practicing self-compassion is another important aspect of resilience. It involves treating oneself with kindness and understanding in the face of failure or difficulty. Resilient individuals recognize that everyone makes mistakes and experiences setbacks, and they do not allow self-criticism to derail their progress. Instead of dwelling on their shortcomings, they practice self-compassion by acknowledging their struggles and encouraging themselves to keep moving forward. This approach fosters resilience because it helps individuals maintain a positive self-image and encourages them to view challenges as part of the learning process rather than as definitive judgments of their abilities. Resilient individuals also engage in proactive problem solving. Rather than becoming paralyzed by challenges, they take an active approach to identify potential solutions. This might involve breaking down a problem into smaller, manageable parts, brainstorming different approaches, and weighing the pros and cons of each option. This proactive mindset fosters resilience because it empowers individuals to take control of their circumstances rather than feeling helpless in the face of adversity. Moreover, it reinforces the belief that they can influence their situation and that setbacks can be overcome through effort and creativity. Cultivating resilience requires individuals to engage in self-reflection. Taking time to reflect on past experiences can provide valuable insights into how we have responded to challenges and what strategies have worked for us. By analyzing our past behaviors and reactions, we can identify patterns, strengths, and areas for improvement. This reflective practice allows individuals to learn from their experiences and apply these lessons to future challenges, enhancing their resilience over time. For instance, someone who recognizes that they tend to withdraw during tough times might make a conscious effort to reach out to friends for support the next time they face adversity. Cultivating resilience is about embracing flexibility and adaptability. Life is often unpredictable, and resilient individuals understand the importance of being able to adjust their plans and expectations in response to changing circumstances. This flexibility allows them to pivot when faced with obstacles rather than becoming rigid and stuck in their ways. Embracing change as a natural part of life fosters resilience because it enables individuals to navigate the uncertainties of life with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than fear. This adaptability can lead to innovative solutions and new opportunities that may not have been considered otherwise. Cultivating resilience is an ongoing process that requires continuous effort and practice. Resilience is not a fixed trait, but rather a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. As individuals face new challenges and navigate various life experiences, they have opportunities to practice and enhance their resilience. By consistently embracing challenges, seeking growth, and remaining committed to personal development, individuals can cultivate a resilient mindset that empowers them to face whatever life throws their way. Ultimately, resilience is a vital life skill that enhances our ability to thrive, adapt, and setting boundaries is a critical aspect of personal growth and development. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define where one person ends and another begins. They help establish a sense of identity, autonomy, and respect in relationships, whether personal or professional. When individuals fail to set boundaries, they often find themselves overwhelmed, stressed, and at risk of burnout. Establishing healthy boundaries is essential for fostering self-respect and ensuring that personal needs and values are honored. This practice not only contributes to individual well-being, but also promotes healthy interactions with others. The first step in setting boundaries is understanding one's own needs and values. This self-awareness requires introspection and reflection. Individuals must ask themselves what they truly want, need, and value in their lives. By identifying these elements, they can gain clarity on what they are willing to accept and what they will not tolerate. This understanding is fundamental to creating boundaries that are authentic and meaningful. For instance, someone who values work-life balance must establish boundaries around work hours to protect their personal time. By articulating their needs clearly, they communicate to others what is acceptable and what is not, fostering a sense of respect and understanding. Setting boundaries involves recognizing and addressing the fears and anxieties that often accompany this process. Many individuals hesitate to set boundaries out of fear of conflict, rejection, or hurting others' feelings. They may worry that asserting their needs will lead to strained relationships or be perceived as selfish. However, it is crucial to understand that setting boundaries is not about pushing others away, rather, it is about fostering healthier interactions. Healthy boundaries create an environment where mutual respect can flourish. Individuals should remind themselves that asserting their needs is an act of self-care and is essential for maintaining their mental and emotional well-being. Effective communication is vital when it comes to setting boundaries. Individuals must be able to express their needs clearly and assertively. This communication should be direct, honest, and respectful. Rather than using vague language or passive-aggressive remarks, individuals should articulate their boundaries in straightforward terms. For example, in saying, "I need some space," which can be ambiguous. One might say, "I need to focus on my work in the evenings, so I won't be available for calls after 6 p.m. Clear communication ensures that others understand where one stands, reducing the likelihood of misunderstandings or conflicts. It is essential to be consistent in enforcing boundaries as well, as inconsistency can lead to confusion and may cause others to test a limit set. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is recognizing the difference between healthy boundaries and unhealthy ones. Healthy boundaries promote mutual respect, support, and understanding, while unhealthy boundaries can lead to isolation, resentment, and conflict. For instance, a boundary that prohibits all social interaction can be counterproductive and may lead to feelings of loneliness. Conversely, a boundary that allows for open communication and the sharing of feelings can strengthen relationships. It is crucial to strike a balance between protecting one's space and remaining open to connection and collaboration with others. This balance fosters a sense of belonging while ensuring personal needs are met. Setting boundaries is also about understanding that they may evolve over time. As individuals grow and change, their needs and priorities may shift, requiring adjustments to their boundaries. Regularly reassessing one's boundaries ensures that they remain relevant and effective. This process involves being in tune with one's feelings and recognizing when a boundary may need to be reinforced or modified. For example, if someone finds themselves feeling overwhelmed with work commitments, they may need to revisit their boundaries regarding overtime or additional projects. Being adaptable and open to change is crucial for maintaining healthy boundaries that support personal growth. It is essential to recognize that setting boundaries may elicit different reactions from others. Some individuals may respond positively, appreciating the clarity and respect for personal space, while others may resist or challenge these boundaries. It is important to be prepared for such reactions and to remain steadfast in one's commitment to self-care. When others push back against boundaries, it is often a reflection of their discomfort rather than a failure on one's part. In these moments, it is crucial to remain calm and assertive, reiterating the importance of the boundaries for one's well-being. Being confident in one's decisions reinforces the message that personal growth and health are non-negotiable. Self-care is a fundamental aspect of setting and maintaining boundaries. Individuals must prioritize their well-being and recognize that setting boundaries is a form of self-respect. Engaging in regular self-care practices, such as mindfulness, exercise, or hobbies, allows individuals to recharge and remain grounded. When individuals take care of themselves, they are better equipped to enforce their boundaries and engage in healthier relationships. Self-care serves as a reminder that one's needs matter and that they are deserving of time and attention. The ability to set boundaries can empower individuals in their professional lives. In the workplace, boundaries can prevent burnout, enhance productivity, and promote a healthy work-life balance. By setting clear expectations regarding availability, workload, and responsibilities, individuals can create an environment that supports their professional goals without compromising their personal lives. For example, a manager who sets boundaries around after-hours communication demonstrates respect for their team's time and well-being, fostering a healthier workplace culture. Setting boundaries can enhance one's self-esteem and confidence. When individuals assert their needs and values, they reinforce the belief that they are worthy of respect and consideration. This practice can lead to increased self-awareness and a more profound understanding of personal priorities. Over time, individuals become more comfortable advocating for themselves, which translates into various aspects of their lives. As self-esteem grows, so does the ability to navigate challenges and maintain healthy relationships. Setting boundaries is a vital practice for personal growth and self-care. It requires self-awareness, effective communication, and a willingness to confront fears and anxieties. By recognizing the importance of boundaries and their role in fostering healthier relationships, individuals can empower themselves to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. Ultimately, boundaries are not about isolation, but rather about creating space for authenticity, respect, and personal fulfillment in one's life. It is crucial to recognize that stopping the cycle of softness and complacency in our interactions is not merely about being tough or unyielding, it's about embracing strength, respect, and authenticity. By establishing clear boundaries, asserting our needs, and engaging in honest communication, we cultivate relationships that honor both our individuality and the dignity of others. We must understand that being firm does not equate to being harsh. It signifies a commitment to our well-being and a dedication to fostering mutual respect. When we learn to prioritize our own needs and values, we set a powerful example for those around us, encouraging a culture where everyone feels empowered to speak up and stand strong. In a world that often rewards compliance over courage, it's time to embrace a mindset that values resilience and assertiveness. We owe it to ourselves to step into our full potential and demand respect in all areas of our lives. As you move forward, remember that it's not about being unkind or harsh, it's about cultivating strength that comes from knowing your worth. Let us stop being soft to everyone, stand firm in our convictions, and foster an environment of respect and growth. Together, we can create a world where strength and kindness coexist harmoniously, leading to richer, more fulfilling connections and a life lived authentically.